Guys, I watched a new movie. Oh my goodness. This one is so good. This is My Man Godfrey. Oh, 1936. And it was so good. William Powell and Carol Lombard. If you love old movies and you are in awe of the techniques that they use to make those old movies, to create some of the things that were in the movies versus like what we use today with all of the CGI, and it is completely different. But there's something fascinating about seeing the evolution of film happen right before your eyes as you're watching a film, and seeing like all of the different things that they're using to eventually one day become the best of the best that we use today. It's just incredible. And it begins with these really old movies that are testing the waters of what's going to work on camera and what isn't going to work on camera. And I will tell you, the opening to this movie is quite remarkable. They show different buildings and parts of a landscape, parts of buildings, and these buildings are lighting up the names of the stars and the people who are working on the different facets of the movie. And it is just incredible. This is your big stage, and it just fades into a matte painting, and that matte painting comes to life as they kind of fade the movement of all of the characters in that scene. It's wonderful. Just watch that opening. It's fantastic. Something I think is very incredible, because you do it relatively easy today, but there's some, like, again, something that these guys they drew for hours. They set up lights for this thing. They did so many different things to make this happen, that today we can probably click just tap a button and it happens, right? It's incredible. In fact, you can tell AI to do this thing with a few words, and so now we've come so far from this. But I love respecting this kind of art and artistic creation. So yes, it was really great. I know I'm making a big deal about the opening of this movie, but it was great. I'm telling you, it was fantastic. Now, we're opening up the story with a man who is homeless in a yard that is full of discarded things. And he's just really kind of trying to enjoy his night, what little he can enjoy of it. There's some rich people that kind of come through the area. They start bothering him. One in particular is a young lady with, this is the lady here with dark hair. Her name is Cornelia Bullock, and she's a rich debutante who is looking for a forgotten man. Basically, what it is that this group of rich people, they go on these scavenger hunts and all these other little things that they like to do to entertain themselves. And so, if she can bring a forgotten man to this particular contest, she will be the winner, and it is a prize amongst the rich to do this. And naturally, he feels insulted that she would be so bold as to refer to him as a forgotten man, and that she would even ask him in the way that she does too. She's not nice about it. So very smug and very entitled. And so he backs her up, and she falls into a pile of ashes. And this really sets her off throughout the entire movie. I kid you not. She's pissed about falling into those ashes. He didn't touch her, didn't hit her, but he approached her, and she kept backing up, and she fell into the pit of ashes. The young lady that's right next to them, she is the sister of Cornelia. Her name is Irene, and this is being played by the legendary Carol Lombard. Once these guys are out of the way, she manages to talk to the man. Well, it turns out that this man's name is Godfrey. Godfrey is definitely a proud man, but he's also a very caring one as well. So she talks to him about the relationship between her and her sister isn't really that great, but it would really mean a lot to her if he would be her forgotten man and she can beat her sister. And he's like, you want to beat your sister, huh? So he's like, okay. He decides to help her out, which is really sweet for him to do that for her. Yeah, but also there's a sadness to it. He's not that impressed with her either. He's trying to help her out, but I don't think he's that impressed with her because they're all they're all spoiled. They're not the worst of the worst, but Cornelia is very, very spoiled. But Irene is actually a little bit more down to earth, but more innocent and bubbly. And so he does take a liking to her, just a little, just a little. And so there we have natural sparks. I mean, sparks are something else. So it really counts for a lot. There's a lot between these two. She agrees to take him to this huge council, or I'm not even sure. It's like this party that they have like this contest, and who's got this weird thing, and who's got that weird thing, and here's the prize for bringing in the most, unique thing. And she was the first person to bring in a forgotten man, and just saying that is so weird, forgotten men. And so she's very sweet. She's like, okay, you know what? Since you did something nice for me, let me do something nice for you. Come by the house and you'll be our new butler. And first you're like thinking, huh, is that really a nice thing? But it's a job. It's a job for our friend Godfrey. And so, he's like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it for you. And you don't get the sense that he wants to be involved in it for money. You get the sense that he's unmotivated, and this is something to do. This is something to do. It fulfills a promise, and it also, he knows it's going to make that girl happy. She's insisting too. He's not, he's not like jumping at the opportunity. She's insisting, and so he's like, okay, I'll take it, but calm down, calm down. I love his attitude. He's very likable and very sweet. Her family is freaking out. They're like, what? Her sister Cornelia is really freaking out and just losing her mind. Like, how dare you, get a forgotten man in our house, and all sorts of things like that. So all of those pompous statements are just they're really over the top here because they're stinking rich, and the girls are just super, super spoiled, and they can't help it. It's almost, you feel bad for them because they can't help it that they're that long. Well, the next day, I'll tell you what, he does keep his promise. He is their butler. The next morning, he's there nice and early, ready to work, and he does it with such grace and such patience. He starts off, he needs help, a lot of help with it. And so Molly, the maid, is there to help him out with just figuring out who people are, what to do, where he should take things. And he learns very quickly, and he knows he just has a way with people, which is really great. The only person he doesn't have a way with is Cornelia, and that is because she's still livid about falling into those darn ashes. She will never stop being nasty and hateful about that. The mom here, I love the mom character here. Her name is Angelica Bullock. The family's last name, that's the rich family, is named Bullock. Angelica is being played by Alice Brady, who's doing a fantastic job. There are many scenes I'm like, oh, she's supposed to be the mom. She looks like she could be their sister. She looks so good. And she is a sponsor to somebody, and his name is Carlo, and he plays piano and he does all this stuff, and she's basically supporting him financially so that way he can follow her everywhere. So it's like a little boyfriend, actually. He has a little extra. She's married to her husband, and she is also got herself a little guy on the side, which is very interesting. Like I said, she pays for everything for him and makes sure that he's taken care of. At the same time, she's sponsoring him. So, well, that is exactly what Irene is thinking to do with Godfrey. She is acting as his sponsor, and she tells him, like, I'm your sponsor. I'm going to make sure that, I'm going to help you out so that way you can have a better life, that you're not on the street and that you can make something of yourself. And, Godfrey is amused by it, but he's also like, you don't have to do that. I'm quite okay. I'm an adult. I can do this. And she's like, no, 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 no. I'm going to do that for you. And it's just so charming and cute. You can't help but like her. She's just really adorable. I was just like, she's so naive, but also fun. And she's used to getting her own way. But what sets her a little bit different between her and Cornelia is that I think she has to work a little bit harder because she really gets her own way. And every once in a while, she likes to really stick it to her sister Irene. She really likes to antagonize her. They're just wonderfully playing sisters in this movie, and I actually like it. I like the playfulness that they have. To each other, even though sometimes it's just downright mean, but they're still, you know, it really is. It really is. And so, yeah, there's Cornelia. She's truly gorgeous, gorgeous. I look at those eyebrows and I'm like, oh, wait, can we have those eyebrows back? I used to love the very, very thin eyebrow. I wonder if that's going to ever come back in fashion. But her, first of all, the clothes in this movie is just absolutely incredible, and she's wearing a fantastic, I believe it's satin gown. It's just dripping with opulence. It's incredible, how immaculate she looks. But she's also, as beautiful as she is, as immaculate as she looks, she is a very terrible person and unattractive. With that, it's just really kind of sad that she is a mean-spirited person. She's so beautiful. There is a moment in which Cornelia really gives Godfrey the 411, like, I'm going to make your life miserable. And it's actually kind of funny. I mean, if you don't actually like, you think of this movie as entertainment, and you don't really think of it as real life. It's funny, and so you're like, oh my goodness, she's such a bad person, and he's like, oh gosh, he's being as I'm telling you, when I say he's being graceful, he's so graceful, so smooth, and you just are on his side the whole time, like, and also trying to figure out who he is because he's actually cloaked in a lot of secrecy. He doesn't really reveal much about himself, and he doesn't want any people to know much about him, and that's actually quite interesting for his character. But through it all, it's very, very easy to see how much in love Irene is with Godfrey. And it's crazy how she's like, she goes through so many different antics of like spoiled brat antics, if you will, like crying and just throwing herself all over the place with agony, and she's in despair because he won't look at her. He won't receive her advances the way she wants him to, and he's always very kind with her, but he doesn't want that. He doesn't treat her like an object. He treats her with a lot of respect, and he's also intending to do the job he was hired for, which was butler. And he will butler. He will butler. And that's what he plans on doing. I love that he takes his job seriously. His work ethic is really great. There's only one time during the film where he kind of loses his work ethic and really messes up on the job. I didn't quite like those moments, but otherwise than that, he really goes into this with a serious mind to do a great job for this family, and he really does. He really does. But I'm not going to tell you every detail of this movie because I do want you to see it yourself. But I'm only just setting up the main things for you. So there is this house party that they throw, and Godfrey is doing, what he can. There's a man there at the party that notices Godfrey. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And his name is Tommy Gray, and he's like, "Hey, look, what are you doing here?" And so he makes up this cockamamie story that they know each other from something else, but they actually know each other from Harvard. I believe it's either Harvard or Yale. And it's like, "Oh, whoa, who is this guy? Who is Godfrey?" It turns out that Godfrey is from a rich family himself, and he's slumming it. He's what they call slumming it, where you're concealing your how much you have, and is but I think in his case he was really hiding out. Hiding out from his former life, and I think he had given up, the way they had kind of explained it. And yes, it's really interesting. And here's the sweet Irene, very, very upset that she can't get the man that she wants. And she just pulls some crazy guy out of out of the nether sphere and says, "Yeah, that guy over there, we're engaged." And he's like, "Yeah, we're engaged? When did that happen?" I was like, that had me in stitches, because I was like, so she is so rich. That guy is not even like, she can call out somebody and say, "You're my husband from now on." And they're like, "Really? I had no idea." And he wasn't even upset about it at all. It was really funny and also sad. It says a lot. It says a lot. So yeah, that was really a great story. At some point during this whole thing, Cornelia is working her evil plans, or is trying to put the theft of one of her necklaces on Godfrey, and it turns out Godfrey got to it first before any scandal came about. So it was really great. I love that. And so to actually try to fire someone by planting a theft on them is very, very awful. It's one of those things where you kind of expect that. You kind of expect that from people who are used to getting what they want. And, she fits the archetype very well. And like I said, they do have a wonderful arc for her character. And you think about stories, one of the things that's really wonderful is our character arcs, and that's important. And even Irene goes through a nice little character arc, but she's essentially stays emotionally the same throughout the entire film. They don't really take away any of her happy, bubbly personality or anything like that. She's like that throughout the entire film. She does a bit of scheming herself, but she's adorable while doing so, and it's never to hurt anybody or make them suffer in any way. But I'm not so sure if that guy who became her fiance would feel the same way about it. He's like, we're not together anymore. Like, whatever you say, lady. But at least now, I mean, according to the laws of attraction, perhaps by having such a debutante socialite as Irene Bullock wanting to marry him, then other young ladies are like, "Oh, well, if he's good enough for Irene, maybe he's good enough for me." So maybe that added some extra points for his dating ability in the socialite world. You never know. Get your name out there and get a little social climbing going on there. So yes, and this is definitely what I love about these kinds of films, is that there was a really beautiful little turnaround or a beautiful little character arc for our girl Cornelia, and that was really tender and sweet as well, for as the whole family, and it ends really wonderfully and incredibly darling, with a twist that, like, you're like, "What? Oh gosh." It's really great. Now, one thing I wanted to say is that the attraction or the chemistry between Carol Lombard and William Powell was palpable, and that is because the two of them were married previously. Yes, they were. They were married from 1931 to 1933. She was 23 and he was 39. Ooh. But nevertheless, they did remain really good friends throughout their lives, the rest of their lives, and they really liked working with one another. They had a very great amount of chemistry with each other, and that definitely was very present in the story. Yes, it was. You can't deny what's there. So there was something there. Well, what they said about the two was that they had a very sweet, almost brother sister like relationship, which is actually, even though we're talking about a romance story, it still works because you want the two characters to really relate to each other on a close level, and so you felt that through the screen. I felt that in their characters, and being that they were really great actors, this was prevalent. Of course, with a movie like this, you have a lot of things to deal with as far as understanding the characters. First of all, it's black and white, so some people may have a problem with that, but I think it was absolutely just gorgeous. I love black and white. There are some color versions of this movie. And for each their own. If you rather see it in color or if you rather see it in black and white, you have the choice. I absolutely love this cover art. It's really beautiful, and the color is very softly and gently used. There was a remake of this in 1957. It was with Jewel Allison and David Niven. And these two, they were really, really famous during that time. They were, we're talking about incredible actors here. So I have never seen this one. I want to see it. This is on my list to see for the future, definitely, because I did love this movie. And it looks like they recreated the scene almost exactly from the original movie. So I can't wait to see what changes they made. Oh, one thing I noticed right away is that they've made the lead actress blonde. So both of the sisters are blonde. You don't have the difference of the brunette and blonde as we did in our 1936 movie. And of course, the poster art for this movie, there's so many, and they're really great. I enjoy looking at all of them, actually. So, guys, I am so happy that I was able to see this movie and I could talk to you guys about it. It was really good. It was fun, and a good feeling all around. A good feeling around. It's a rom-com. It's got that 1936 charm, in black and white. You can't beat it. I loved it. If you've seen this, please let me know what you think of this movie. If it was fun for you, if you liked it, or when you saw it. Did you see this on television, or did you actually see it in a theater, or did you have a special viewing of this movie? I saw this on Amazon, so it was a home theater kind of situation, but I still enjoyed it and had so much fun with it. And if you have not seen this, I hope you will take a look and see this yourself and let me know what you think of it eventually. So, without further ado, I bid you adieu, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.